protected by the First Amendment. Who will be first? Who's going to be? Alan is the first one in here. Good, glorious Monday morning, and praise be to all of my Crazy for Cats is here. I'll count you as number one. Nathan is here. Nathan is here. Welcome. Good, glorious Monday morning. It is a beautiful day. So, I just uploaded a video on my review. I watched The Sound of Freedom. I saw The Sound of Freedom. And throughout the reviews that I've seen these last couple of days, there was so much in this movie that people just missed. People just missed it. And I saw, a lot of reviews that were like, oh yeah, it made me emotional, maybe this, that. But I was looking for details. I was looking for communications, and I found them. They are in there. They are absolutely in there. If you haven't seen the video review that I did, I'll explain it to you guys right now. The first thing that stuck out to me was the biblical references, both to Mark. It was Mark 9:42, and there was also another one from Matthew too. I believe it was Matthew 19. But anyways, there was a biblical reference specifically to Mark 9:42, which says, should anyone harm these little ones, these ones that believe in me, it would be better for them to have a millstone cast around their neck and have them cast into the sea. That was the first part. The second one, though, the things that stuck out to me that I have yet to hear from anyone else was when they talked about the rich billionaire executive that set up a hotel in Thailand specifically for these nefarious purposes. Who do you think that was? And then they talked about another billionaire executive who had bought an island set up specifically for that. And then they showed a picture of not just any island, okay? They showed a picture in this movie of the island. That was something I have yet to hear from anyone else. The best part, I was talking about this in the short live I did last night. How I was feeling that frustration, just the impatience, the frustration that came, and I needed something to, to restore my confidence, to restore my, my faith in everything. And this movie was exactly that. Because this was the best part. I mean, this was the biggest calm that I saw in the entire movie. Is that as they were developing their plan to go in and rescue the little girl. This is after they got the little boy. As they were developing their plan to rescue the little girl, the guy in the movie that Jim Caviezel or Tim Ballard was working with said this. He said, I know of certain groups that are able to sweet talk their way into these organizations. I don't know if there's maybe any any epidemics going on up in those mountains. And they went in to rescue this little girl, and their cover was they were doctors with the United Nations, and they had boxes of shots. That was the biggest sign to me. The biggest communication to me, the biggest reference to me was that. The epidemic thing. And they went in there using cover. How else? I'm doing very well. Tracy. I'm doing very well. How else could you scour the entire world and get access to everyone? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It was a cover. All of it. All of it. All of it was covered. I'm discussing the Sound of Freedom and the communications that I got out of it. For you, Stacy, I will go from the top. The first thing that I saw was the first thing that I noted was the biblical reference to Mark 9:42, where it says, should anyone cause these little ones to stumble or harm these little ones, it should have a millstone cast around their neck and then have them cast into the sea. That was the first thing. The second one was they talked about a billionaire executive. Yes. They talked about a billionaire executive who set up a hotel in Thailand specifically for these nefarious purposes. We know who that is. We know who. Oh, absolutely, 100%. And I'm telling you why right now. We know who that is that set up the hotel in Thailand specifically for these nefarious purposes, okay? And then they referenced another billionaire who bought an island specifically for these purposes. It's the same one I'm referencing right now. And then they showed a photo of the island. And then here's where it gets good. Here's where it gets good. One of the guys that Jim Caviezel or Tim Ballard in this movie was working with, when they were exactly, POTUS, exactly. You're right. One of the guys that Ballard was working with in this movie said this. He said, I know of certain groups that are able to sweet talk their way into these organizations. I don't know if there's maybe any epidemics going on up there in those mountains. And Tim Ballard, Jim Caviezel, and this guy and the other guy went in to infiltrate this organization to save this little girl under the cover of their cover ID. Is they posed as doctors from the United Nations, and they were let in. Now, epidemics. Look at the recent history of the world. Look at the recent history of the world. How do you like that? It all makes sense now. And I also believe that the release of this movie was more strategic than it was via interference. Exactly. That's exactly right. Non-Screen Scully, you are exactly right. Banned him from Mar-a-Lago immediately. We know. How's it going, Jeff? I'm not sure what you're referencing. Was that in the movie? Because I didn't see that. Okay, you can disagree with me all you want, Frank Ramirez, but we know that's not true. We know what you're saying is not true. So it's that simple. Bingo, Sandra D. Bingo. Now we're making the connections here. Also, in that situation, Linda, you have to understand that in order for this whole thing to work, sometimes you have to sort of make friends. I agree, Joshua, but I'll get to that in a second. Oh, there it is. There's the insult. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. See? Trolls have to show their hand. Speaking of which, I would like to go through my 5 rules. The 5 rules for my content. 1. No direct insults or personal attacks on myself or anyone else in the room, as you will be blocked immediately. Number 2, do not belittle anyone for any reason, under any circumstances, for anything. Rule number 3, don't feed the trolls. Do not engage with trolls. Myself and my moderators will simply handle them. Okay? Rule number 4, no direct links on any of my content, as links are associated with the algorithms and they get my account attention that I do not want. And rule number 5, do not promote cryptocurrencies on any of my content. You will be blocked, no second chances. But back to rules number 1 and 2, which are the most important ones here. No direct insults or personal attacks on myself or anyone else in the room. And rule number 2, don't belittle anyone for any reason. Because what I've done here in this space, in this channel that I've created here, I've created a place where people can come and have healthy discussion. The minute the insults and nastiness starts getting exchanged, there it is. That's another one right there. It's that simple. It's that simple. Ah, welcome. Hello from Morocco. You know, that's it. I don't even see that. Like, you know, that's just the thing. Like, in my world, none of that stuff exists, Joshua. In my world, none of that stuff exists, because I go and I hang out at the barbershop. People of all shapes, sizes, colors, whatever it is, you name it, go in and out of that shop up there. Exactly, Joe. That's exactly it. You know, that is one thing that I haven't done, Joshua. As I've never gotten the opportunity to date a melanated woman. I'm not ruling it out, and I totally would. You know. Yeah, it's very true. You know, it's very true. You know, Red Maven gets it crazy, so much so that she turns off the stitch option on her videos, because there are so many of her videos that I would love nothing more than to be able to stitch and add my take on it. I'm sure there are ways that I could do it, but I would like to be able to use that option on her videos. But she gets attacked so viciously that she has to turn that off. And all it does is ruin the opportunity for folks like me and positive people to add their 2 cents on the whole thing. Thank you, guys. There's 120 people in here. This is one of the largest crowds I've ever had in one of my lives. I appreciate it sincerely. I do. As I was going through, I realized it all after watching The Sound of Freedom, that of all of the reviews and things that I've seen from people, there hasn't been. Nobody else has mentioned these things. Thank you, Lenny. I appreciate that. You know, and those were the things that I was most looking for, and I was most paying attention to. You have to understand that this movie, yes, I did, Jody. Yes, I did. This movie was filmed in what, 2019, 18? Taking all of that into consideration, there is no such thing as coincidence, folks. It was all that's how they did it. You know, sure, there were plenty of bad actors that managed to, you know, get their dirty hands into that stuff and still do some harm, because let's face it, they're not going down without a fight. Yes, it was filmed right in the height of what they found in New York City tunnels. Exactly. Remember those tents in Central Park, April 2020? Man, this is... Sorry, guys. I feel like my eyelashes are sticking. Something that they mentioned in the movie, Sandy, is that this this topic, so many people wear blinders intentionally because it's too hardcore for them. This is driving me insane right now. There it is. Got it. I think. So, anyways, you know, that's I don't know. I have no idea. It's something that just happened right now, probably. Could be that. But regardless, like they mentioned in the movie, this stuff it's too real, it's too fierce, it's too in your face, it's too hardcore for polite conversation. Right. It's easier to be ignorant to the truth because the truth, what's happening is yeah, exactly. It is brutal. You know, it's brutal. And it, you know, I'll admit, at the end of that movie, when they played the song, God's Children Are Not for Sale, that was the, that was where I got emotional. That was where I got emotional at the very end. Yeah, no, I agree. You know, but it's out there. It's out there. It's now out. Yeah, they like that's all those things, all the bad things that happen. But you know, it's for ultimately we are headed into a clean world. Like the reason why this is taking such a long time. Mockingbirds. The reason why this is taking such a long time, it's in a way it is to wake people up, but for those of us that are already awake and aware to all of that stuff, it shows, because there are several examples, there are several references through the movie that we can make connections to. For example, outside of the biblical reference to Mark 9:42, they made mention of a billionaire who set up in the movie, they made mention of a billionaire who set up a hotel in Thailand specifically for these nefarious purposes. That same billionaire who bought an island for these nefarious purposes, and then they showed an image of the island in the movie. They didn't just show any island in the movie. The photo of the island they showed that this billionaire bought in the movie was a photo of the island. It was a photo of the island. Okay? And then it gets better. And then it gets into a little more stuff. So basically when they were developing their plan, to go in and rescue this little girl, the guy that Jim Caviezel or Tim Ballard in the movie was working with said this. He said, I know of certain groups that are able to sweet talk their way into these places. I don't know if maybe there's any sort of epidemics going on up there in those mountains. And then when they went in there to infiltrate, to rescue the little girl, their cover, they're mockingbirds. They're mockingbirds is what they are. They are mockingbirds. But anyway, their cover was they were doctors with the United Nations. Are you just here to be a troll, Joyce? Because it's only a matter of time before one of my moderators sees something that goes against one of my 5 rules from you. Yeah, they sure are. They sure are. We just handle them. No engagement with trolls. Oh yeah, I already took care of that one. But anyways, what makes you think no one cares? I actually had this conversation with someone yesterday. I happen to think that the Vatican is the epicenter for that. Okay, as a devout Christian, that is one of my beliefs. I understand that these institutions have been infiltrated, Joyce. I understand that. The Sound of Freedom is the name of the movie. I understand that these have been infiltrated viciously. Okay? And that's what they do. That's what they do. They use benevolent things to cover their malevolence. You know, you see all those philanthropists out there. You know who I'm talking about. The computer guy with no college degree whatsoever. They use philanthropy and benevolent things as cover for their nefarious things, for their wickedness, for their evil things, for their evil deeds. And we see them for what they are. Now, right. You know, I was explaining that to Joyce. The wickedness is human trafficking. And much, much worse. Much worse. Right. And that's the point. Without a doubt, Eric Peters, without a doubt. Right. That's it. That's exactly it. You know, like that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, take a look at this. So he heavily invested into the institutions that created the thing. Okay? He heavily invested into those institutions, and then he promoted it fiercely. Okay? And then after he pulled his money out, after he made billions of dollars off of it, then he walked it back and said, "Oh yeah, it wasn't really doing what we wanted, what we thought it was going to." After he promoted it viciously, it was a big money-making thing. I see you for what you are, Eric. I see you for what you are. You know, that's the thing with that's the issue. How's it going, Script? That's the issue with getting big crowds. You know, that getting large audiences during my lives is it comes with so many vicious trolls. You know, and Script, I just did my review of the Sound of Freedom, and I picked up on some things. I picked up on something, Script, that I'll mention to you. Did you see the movie, Script? Did you see it? The Sound of Freedom? One of the biggest things that stuck out to me, well, a few of the things that stuck out to me, is that, one, they talked about that billionaire executive that bought a hotel in Thailand and set it up specifically for these nefarious things. Me too, Script, me too. For these nefarious things. And then they said that the billionaire that bought the island, and then they showed an image of not just any island, they showed an image of the island, Script. They showed the island. Okay, and then the best part to me was, what reassured me the most was when the guy that Tim Ballard or Jim Caviezel was working with in the movie said, "I know of certain groups that can sweet talk their way into these organizations. I don't know if there's any epidemics going on up there in those mountains." And then they went in there, and their cover ID was that they were doctors with the United Nations. That made me reflect on what happened starting in fall 2019 and carried us through those 2 years, 20 to 21 or 22, whenever that ended. You know, whenever that 2 weeks was over with. That was a huge connection that I made. They used it as cover. So, Carlson is a financier. I'm not saying it doesn't. It sure does. It brings awareness. But there were connections that I made. I'm not even. Look, Script. I think you could respect my perspective on this. When in the Bible, I believe it's in Ecclesiastes, where it mentions that the hoarded riches of evil will be confiscated and used for the good of humanity. I personally, I'm kind of thinking that's what's going on here. You know, that was one name I did not see in the credits, was Carlos Slim. You'd think the financier of a movie would have his name in the credits at least, right? I was looking for it. It wasn't there. Oh, okay. I'm going to let Script down for a minute. What's up, Script?
What's good, brother?
Not much. What's so you heard my take on that about the hoarded riches of evil will be used for the good of humanity, but what were you going to say?
So the executive orders basically state that the executive orders were basically, put in play by Trump, where they would seize anybody that was involved in human trafficking or anything that they were doing. I ain't gonna spit the military law and all
Right.
that stuff. I'm just saying, as far as like what we know, um, everybody's forgetting too that like even though this comes out and it helps with people, it's not that we're trying to discredit it. I connected Carlos Slim and all these people here. Let me show you real quick. I don't know if I can. How do I do the video? I just hit that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna see if I can flip this around. Okay.
I'm not
So
able to see you though. Hold on one second.
okay, hold on. I'm coming back in. Can you see
All right.
this?
Not yet.
Okay.
There we go. Invite to turn on was sent.
Okay. So let's see. It's there or it's not coming up for me?
I'm not seeing it.
They always mess with me.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna save this. There we
Oh,
go.
now I see
Okay.
you. Now I see you.
All right, I'm gonna flip this around real
Oh,
quick.
okay.
All right, let's see if it lets me flip it around.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Can you? No, you can't see it.
I
Damn.
saw it just briefly.
Let's see if I save it. There we go again. There we go. Okay. So right here, if you see, there's Mel. Okay. So there's Mel, Carlos Slim, and General what's his name? The guy that's connected to General Flynn. Forget his name. Oh, Ariel Vroman. So
Okay.
yeah, in Mexico City with Mr. Carlos Slim and Mel Gibson. So this is just people that are putting stuff up. So
Okay.
the Florida Sound of Freedom, the General Flynn, Clay Clark, Mel Gibson circus, who funded the movie. Carlos Slim, Mexican Lebanese drug money launderer, close friend of Clinton's and owner of New York Times. Now I'm not saying that it didn't do the right thing. I'm not saying,
Right.
that it's not waking people up. But for me, like I have like a particular set of skills, just like
Of course.
Breb and a lot of other people. We look for everything. Like we go down to like the bone. Like we'll take all the meat away from it. We'll
Yep.
take all the fat away from it. And when we
Right.
get to the bone, that's when we get back to
Yeah.
the essence of it. Now,
Right.
there's other things that go to it too. A lot of people don't
Yep.
agree with me about General Flynn.
Yep.
I've told people to research General Flynn. General Flynn is actually the ones that came up with Pegasus.
Okay.
Pegasus is what violated all our rights as a as an American
Yeah.
sovereign. I don't like saying citizen.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can see it goes back. Now, he even met with Trump. Now, Trump gave a decode about him
Yeah.
recently. Trump said, Carlos Slim.
Yeah.
Carlos Slim, great guy. Anytime Trump says Carlos
Yeah.
Slim or this one, great guy, everybody digs right into it. So I think that there's a lot more to this movie. There's Carlos Slim again. He was one
Yeah.
of the big Clinton donators, I guess. Is that another way
Right.
to put it? I'm going to flip
Yeah.
this back around so I can
Okay.
see it. Okay. So,
1 second here.
okay, go ahead. You can flip it. Let's get you back over.
Yeah, let me
Let me get back down to the bottom.
oh, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
Now I got it. So something that continuously plays again and again in my head is that what I've noticed throughout this course of time and space is that every bad person, not every single one of them, but as these nefarious characters keep popping up more again and again, they are continuously put in the spotlight. And what happens after they get put into the spotlight? Exposure.
Yep.
I think that there may be a case of that in here as well. The movie is waking people up. The movie is giving, great information and creating great awareness. But also at the same time, perhaps this is one of those instances where these people are being put into the spotlight for the sake of exposure.
Well, yeah, I mean, so it's going like this: infiltration, exposure, then declass. So those three things right here is what I've like stayed with ever since I got involved with this and exposing stuff. I've even been infiltrated where I had like people that I thought were like family, and then they turn, and then it turns it because Instagram is totally different than TikTok.
Yeah.
Way different. I can say 10 times more, and I don't have to worry about them like taking me down.
Right.
But the best thing that I wanted to say is yes, this puts it on a spectrum worldwide that yes, human trafficking exists. The part that I was mad about, and this is just me, you only mentioned the United States at the end. We are the #1 human trafficking hub in the world. It shouldn't have been done about a third world country. It's just another story to me that I know millions of, like that girl in El Salvador, the girl in Ecuador, and that one little girl that they saved that got this all started with Trump diverting 45 million to human trafficking, National Human Trafficking Day, National Human Trafficking Awareness Month. There's a lot of things that went into play with that. But like, once I saw the pre-ticket sales, now remind you, it really wasn't censored. They just tell us it's censored. This was on every platform. I saw an ad for it. But their pre-ticket sales blew out Indiana Jones. That's the all-time pre-ticket sales of all time.
Right.
And I was like, damn, okay. All right, let them do what they got to do. Let them get to it. But there's a lot of people that had mixed feelings about it. They asked me about it, and they're like, well, I don't know. It wasn't really like impacting me. It didn't impact my life because we've seen worse. I've seen worse. I've seen 100 times worse. But I think for level, like the surface level, it's great. I just hope they don't use it against us because remember, the enemy is still over there. They still have little minions everywhere. Not everybody's arrested. There's 800,000 sealed indictments, and only about 15 to 17% have been unsealed.
Wow. It's up to 800,000 now?
Yeah. I've seen some cases, they told me it was like 1 million.
Right.
But I have like a thing that I put on my Patreon where you can click it and it keeps everybody up to date about what they've unsealed. It shows the human trafficking cases. It shows treason and sedition. It shows, a whole bunch of things.
That's wild, man. Like it's this is like there is more to come is what I believe. I think I still kind of think we are not as close to the end as we think we are, but we are close nevertheless. You see what I mean? Like, I think it's still going to take some time because we have to understand just how many of them there really are.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Well, think about it this way. Look at the church, right? So the church, a lot of people are saying, this one's bad, this evangelical's bad, that evangelical's bad. And I'm like, all right, well, we know that. Were they involved with human trafficking? Yes, they were involved with human trafficking. Okay, cool. That's cool. But we should know this now. Most of us should know that that's what they do. They infiltrate us. It's infiltration. And then once they get in, they'll slowly take it over. That's how Satan works. Satan's been doing.
I was talking about that earlier. Like we were talking, somebody had mentioned the Catholic Church. I was like, that's what these secret handshake clubs do. They infiltrate these benevolent things. They use benevolent things to cover their nefarious deeds, and that's what they've been doing since day one.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I had a thing where like you're attacking Catholic people, and I was like, no, I love my Catholic brothers and sisters. They're brothers and sisters in Christ. Yeah. So I'm not mad at them. I'm exposing the leadership. I've always exposed leadership, and I think people get caught up with what I'm saying. It's like Kanye when he's like, the Jews run the music industry. Yeah. You can't say that. I have friends that are Jewish and I'm part Israeli. So like, there's so many people that are not in on that. They don't have nothing to do with that. So, I think everybody forgets to separate the bad.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we are, the best thing that we can do in the meantime, like, is just be the change we want to see in the world. Just be good people now. Also, I wanted to ask you, Script, because I've been thinking about it too. Perhaps it's a combination of like privacy, given that they're minors. Maybe that's why we're not hearing very much about the aftercare of these kids. But maybe it's just the fact that they are under 18, they're minors, and privacy laws and all that stuff. But what do you think about that?
We've gone so deep into Tim Ballard.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's Tim Ballard anymore. I don't even think it's Jim Caviezel. I mean, I got a picture right now of
Right.
Mel Gibson.
They do look different. Like
Mel
from
Gibson's
when
got a skin
looking at the
mask on.
movie, looking at them in the movie or Jim in the movie versus Jim now, it's just very, very different.
Yeah. I mean, I got a picture of Mel Gibson right now. I'm looking at. He's got a skin mask on. You can see
Yeah.
it. It's like totally evident.
Crazy.
So, like,
Crazy.
I do believe that, you know, everybody's forgetting also, too, like when this first started, they were given a choice.
Right.
Execution or play a role in this
Right, exactly.
upcoming
Yep.
movie we're watching.
Yep,
That's
that
it.
was the whole thing with the red folder. You know, the like that picture with 45 and the Pope was the same thing. The Pope was standing there looking all miserable. That was that. That was that. Capitulate and cooperate, or we will offer you up to the masses as exactly what you are. You know that. Yeah, and we're seeing it.
Well, look at Joe Biden. They just did one with Joe Biden. He was at the beach. Joe Biden has tattoos. The guy that was at the beach now, he don't got no tattoos. Guys, if that doesn't tell you that these people are actors.
Right.
I mean, who falls? Who falls going up the stairs twice?
Several
times.
Right.
What was the other one he fell? Oh, on the stage.
On the bicycle.
It's
It's
crazy.
It's
like comedy at this point.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But yeah, man. On that note, Script, I got to get going though because I got some things going on this morning. But I appreciate you coming on here and you know and giving me your 2 cents on that. We should make a time to do a dual co-hosting one. That way
I'm with it. I'm just laughing at the comment.
Oh yeah, man. It's crazy.
And they're tying everything to QAnon. You know why they're tying it to QAnon? Because QAnon has nothing to do with Q.
Ilana, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this live and I'll re-upload it to YouTube. Whatever happens there happens. I think we'll be just fine. But I'm going to upload this whole thing because we just gave and talked about a lot of real good things. You can get to my YouTube on my TikTok profile. My link tree is there, so you can go directly to my YouTube. It'll be up there later today. But yeah, I will definitely upload that. But I appreciate you, Script. I got to get going.
Okay, brother.
It's been great talking with all you guys. God bless you. Have a beautiful Monday.
You too, guys. Later.